It's interesting how I make all these videos in the past and new stuff comes along. I should have recorded this straight away. At the time of this writing, I never knew what was happening after Cosmic Fury. We know that Power Rangers have left New Zealand and it kind of makes us wonder where we're going. I generally think they're moving to Canada. I generally really do, because that would make more sense, because it's cheaper to kind of do stuff over there than say making it in America, which obviously you'd have to have like maybe Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk money to constantly make stuff over there, etc, etc. But it's one thing that's making me wonder what they could do with Power Rangers to kind of keep it going if they weren't gonna, I don't know, say make more seasons and stuff like that. The reboot is happening, the reboot is coming. Whenever it comes, we'll know by then. But what happens if they just focused on specials of Power Rangers? Every year they would kind of get the Rangers together and obviously go through each one and kind of do it like that way. You could easily shoot multiple seasons over time. It would make more sense. You could go straight to In Space to do one, then you could go to, say, doing Turbo, to doing everything. At the moment, we're in this kind of, we don't know what's going on. Let's say that right now we know this is on a hiatus year. Hasbro have confirmed this with their kind of resting year project because we're not getting any of the toys. But I generally think that if you do specials, it makes things a lot easier and it can kind of conclude certain stories. We saw this in Once and Always, where we got the conclusion of Trini. You know, it was going to be addressed at some point. Everybody wanted it because, again, Power Rangers seems to kind of move away from that thing and they don't really kind of talk about it. Obviously, they'll probably have to address something with Jason David Frank, but with that, we know what happens to Tommy. He grows old, he's with Kat, and then obviously he's got his grandson, he's got his son, and you know, effectively you could do that one in SPD because by the time that you reach it, you know, Tommy would be that old and you could say, hey, JJ's here and he is the SPD Green Ranger. That's if you're going through the Soul of the Dragon, which would probably be the easiest thing. But either way, I think that if you kind of shot these like maybe back to back, so do 2 specials a year, but have them ready to go out every single time. It builds up a lot of hype that people want to say, oh my God, like we have to wait 5 years for SPD. I know that. But, or you could just kind of have it like 2 a year or something like that. You don't have to have it 1 a year. And I think it would give fans a lot of hope because they want to see it. You have the thing like the time jump. Hey, this is shot in this year, you know, and so on and so on. You just basically have to dress the sets up. You could reuse the sets as well. SPD wants to come back and they want to go to that Surf Shack thing in Power Rangers in Space. Boom, there you go. Use the same set. You could reuse them. You get more money out doing that, which would be easier. It would be a lot cooler to do. I've gone completely off script as well, which is always a generally good thing. I think that with the way that nostalgia is, like, we know what's happening with Mighty Morphin. We always do. We know that they're always going to focus on that one. So yeah, maybe seeing something like with Lightspeed Rescue. Maybe you could have Queen Bansheera come up, but be in a different form, because obviously that monster suit's probably way gone and they're not going to remake it. But maybe you could have like some CGI for a little bit and then have her transform into someone else, which then she could go off and do random things to kind of mess up the world. Lightspeed are the only ones to kind of come back because they're the only ones that could really see her. You see, you have all these kind of like cool stories that you could implement into this straight away. And I generally really like that thought of, hey, could we make a unique selling point? Could we make a unique story? Because that would be perfect for this sort of thing. It sucks right now that we're not getting anything in 2024, and the next thing that we see will be the reboot. I know a lot of people wanted the Sentai adaptations to kind of carry on, but with it moving on right now, I think this would be the perfect time to implement specials. You know, Japan does it all the time, every single year. There's the Super Sentai that's like the versus match. They have their own films. So why can't Hasbro actually put money into this to make the brand a little bit better and say, hey, here you go. Boom. Once and Always had its very own kind of story. Rita comes back and that's a thing. But could you imagine if like you have like really unique storylines that is definitely like never been done. Time Force comes back because they've got to come back to a point in time before the whole world messes up, and you know they have to fix it because maybe like someone who wants to be like Ransik has just gone back in time. Maybe you have the kind of Machine Empire, whatever it is. You could have Thrax, you know, you could have anyone come along. Having the robot from Time Force, you know, be completely different, and then you can redesign it. You can make them scary, you could make them non-scary, you can make him look like an android. Who knows? There's so much that you could really kind of pull together, and I feel like specials and stuff like that would be the main things, you know, to kind of run for. It would be a fun thing. I generally would really like to see this sort of stuff happen within Power Rangers because it's something different. Oh yeah, cool, we can follow the Sentai, but could you imagine having something a little bit different? I mean, you could even add a push if you wanted to keep it like Sentai. Borrow the suits from the monster. So you could have Time Force come running up, but have that Professor Time or that Time Monster, whatever it was, that was able to take all the Ranger keys and then turn them into his general kind of evil Ranger army. But you could take that suit and bring it across. I think that would be kind of cool if it's still around, if it hasn't been disintegrated or thrown away. I'm guessing it would have been thrown away. That's what I'm probably saying. But at least then you can ask and say, hey, do you have this suit? Borrow one of the most recent monsters. Hell, if you wanted to be that really bit risque, what do we bring up next? Why not bring in one of the Kamen Rider suits? You know, like was it the Time one, or you know, 01, or even like the newest one? Bring them in and make them the bad guy. Could you imagine? I think the Ranger fandom as well as the Tokusatsu fandom would go a little bit crazy, but like, oh my god, how are they going to do it? Would they mess it up? Who knows? I have no idea. Again, completely off script for this. You know, if you wanted to do MMPR again, do it, but do it properly. Actually pay attention. The one thing that I found with Once and Always was that it didn't cater to the adult audience. It catered to the kids again, because for some strange, bizarre reason, the kids are the ones that everyone's going to buy the toys. Yeah, it's mainly the adults who do it. But again, when I heard it was all for, oh, this is for the fans that grew up with it, I don't think it was. I think that it was intended to be, but then it massively dropped the ball. And I think that's down to like Hasbro, you know, not giving enough money, not giving enough time. Originally, it was like restricted to 22 minutes, which would have been an absolute horrible runtime. So obviously giving it more time would have been the better option, but yeah, that didn't work. MMPR is the one that everybody loves. So obviously you're going to do more specials, and you kind of think that you would move across. Like people have said, like if you're going to do marketing into getting like the MMPR fans to love other seasons, then that's what you'd want to do. You'd want to kind of try and push the other seasons, you know, mix and match. Maybe use MMPR to come along and be in other ones, like, oh hey, we've now got it in Zeo, now we've got it in space, and kind of like bring them together and kind of just use Rangers all the time. It's interesting how Saban never really did that to kind of make it slightly different, but obviously we know that he just didn't give a shit. Or he did, and then just didn't when it came back, Samurai and such like that. Do I feel like this could be a massive movement for Power Rangers? Yes. I generally think that Power Rangers needs this sort of infusion to kind of be a little bit different, kind of be unique in its own way. It's unique to some degree, but could you imagine, you know, having multiple Rangers all the time in different shows would be perfect. This is what I'm hoping the reboot does a lot. I'm really hoping it does something slightly different. But anyway, I am going to leave it there. What are your thoughts? Would you like to see more specials? Would you like to see something completely different? Let me know down below in the comments. If you want to help out and support the channel, why not check out the memberships, check out the merch. Yep, we've got merch. I am going to leave it there. Thank you for listening and watching. I hope you have a great day. I appreciate you being here, so thank you. I will catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimono Cat. Your help does go a long way to support the channel. And if you want to consider helping the channel, then links to my Patreon as well as the channel members are listed below.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。